Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video doing the ECMWF extended forecast for today's second video. So we're going 6 weeks ahead with the extended ECM model. We're going to look at mean settled pressure, 500 millibar height, temperature and precipitation anomalies for the next 6 weeks, which will take us into the second half of July. Can you believe it? So I shall get on that for you in a sec. Just say about the first video is our nice little 7 AM upload. We've got weekend forecast coming up for you a little bit later, and a 10 to 14 day as well. It's a busy day at GavsWeatherVids today. Right, let's do it then, shall we? So we'll start off with the week 1 mean settled pressure. I'll keep webcam on, shall I? This week start off with the week 1 mean sea level pressure anomaly for the 14th to the 21st of June. Breaking down the ridge really next week is the main theme. So we've got low pressure appearing around Iceland and to the north of Scotland, and also some low pressure through France and Spain. That's going to be a thundery low, of course. And then the ridge that we have has given us such a dry and warm first half of June. It's sort of breaking to some of the ridge going over towards eastern, northeastern parts of Europe, and some of the ridge pulling out into the middle of the North Atlantic, which means the jet stream starts to dig southwards a little bit. It just begins to have a more unsettled look, doesn't it, to that mean sea level pressure. So becoming more unsettled through next week. The 500 millibar height anomaly shows this nicely as well from the North Pole view down. So again, we've got the below average heights, below pressure to our north, and down towards Spain. The ridge breaking apart, some of the ridge slipping in central and eastern parts of Europe, some of the ridge pulling out into the North Atlantic. And so obviously you need to have more influence from the jet stream and from low pressure. So temperatures begin to cool down, starting off very warm. Of course, it's going to be very warm this weekend and early next week too. So the temperature anomaly overall for much of southern and eastern England is warmer than average. It is becoming cooler than average, so just to our north and northwest. And obviously as we break the ridge down, these cooler temperatures with time will start to push eastwards. But still pretty warm as an anomaly for southern and eastern areas. And still reasonably dry as well. So this breakdown taking a little while to get going means that overall for the week from the 14th to 21st of June, the precipitation anomaly comes out drier than average. Notice it's wetter than average just to our south over France, and wetter than average just to our north. So you can see the pressure that the high pressure is being put under in the coming week. Right, so that's week 1 done. Basically, it's a changeover week. Let's go through to week 2, which is going to be the 21st to the 28th of June. And then we see a bit of a realignment with ridging. So the high pressure primarily begins to pull out to our west. So we said, I've got quite a bit of high pressure close to us, but the high pressure pulls out more to the west. The low pressure is to the north around Iceland and Greenland, which means we're probably lining up the jet stream northwest to southeast, setting up a northwest-southeast alignment to the jet stream. There should still be a reasonable amount of dry weather with that, I would have thought. Perhaps a bit showery up in the north. But the main difference, I think, would just be a rather cooler, fresher feel as, you know, we send the jet stream northwest to southeast and we pull the air in from the North Atlantic. Temperature anomalies there from the 21st, 28th of June are becoming cooler than average for Ireland and the UK, although it's near normal in the south-southeast. But basically, we're going average to below average there for the last full week of June. And the precipitation anomaly just reverting very close to average or having no signal. Notice it's driving average to our west-southwest. That's where the high pressure sits, of course. Wetter than average to our northeast. So you can very much envisage that there is this northwest to southeast alignment to the jet here, with the troughs of the ridges lining up like that. Right, that's week 2 done. Let's have a look at week 3. Let's go to the 28th of June through to the 5th of July. Much weaker signals now, but also got a little bit of high pressure sitting just to our east around Denmark and Germany. Low pressures up towards Greenland, Iceland, and down towards Spain. So they could decide much. It's a very weak signal, but we're probably starting to pull up some warmer air from the south, if anything, there. I would have thought. Let's see if a 500 millibar height anomaly sheds any further light. So that looks a little bit more anticyclonic, really, with above average heights extending in from the Atlantic into Western Europe generally. So there is still a low pressure up towards Greenland, Iceland, maybe a little bit flat westerly, but I think that's probably like a warming up and drying up sort of week. It doesn't go particularly unsettled anyway, but I think that's probably a warming up week. The temperature anomaly begins to lift back up again, so after that cooler interval at the end of June, we're into the start of July, and temperatures are starting to become warmer again, especially so for England and Wales. Most parts of Europe looking pretty warm as well, but cool and average temperature is sort of retreating away to our northwest. And the precipitation anomaly there for week 3, again, quite a weak signal, but if anything, possibly on the drier side for the UK and for Ireland. Right, let's move to week 4 then. It's going to be the 5th through to the 12th of July, and now we've got an area of high pressure centre pretty much over top of the country, actually. So high pressure is sitting there over the UK and Ireland. We have got lower pressure down across southern parts of Europe, which is a little bit unusual for the middle of the summer to be getting low pressure down there. So you'd have thought probably quite an anticyclonic week. Once again, high pressure back in business. 500 millibar height anomaly again with that big area of above average height centering over top of the UK and Western Europe too. If you want warm, dry weather, that's about as good as it's going to get. The temperature anomaly looks pretty warm, just a little bit good on average to our northwest. That's probably being governed by sea surface temperature anomalies in the Atlantic, if anything. Most parts of Europe are looking warm or possibly quite hot there, and southern parts of the UK are included in that. And it's pretty dry as well, as you'd expect, with high pressure sitting over top of the country, so Ireland, the UK, and many parts of Western Europe are coming out drier than average. So we're back in business with high pressure there for week 4. Let's go on to week 5, which is the 12th to the 19th of July. No signal at this point, so we're losing the signal the further out we're getting, absolutely nothing to work with from a mean sea level pressure anomaly perspective. A 500 millibar height anomaly also looking very weak, so again, nothing really to be working with. I suppose the only thing you can say is that the fact that we're reverting from the anticyclonic signal of like week 4 to no particular signal for week 5 probably indicates that the ridge is weakening and breaking down again. But the temperature is still holding up though, so that's still warmer than average. It's quite a warm July being forecast here by the ECM, especially for England and for Wales. It always looks a little bit cooler for Scotland and for Northern Ireland. And the precipitation anomaly, again, very weak signals, no signal really, but maybe a little bit on the drier side. And then finally we get through to week 6, which will be the 19th to the 26th of July. This is how it looks. Again, very, very, very weak signals. Possibly just maybe start to favour lower pressure across Western Europe. But again, it is a very, very weak signal for that. And basically, it's so weak that you can't draw any conclusions, I don't think. The 500 millibar height anomaly for week 6, again, looking very, very weak with a signal. So weeks 5 and 6, really, really elusive. If anything, does show like some blocking though beginning to appear around Svalbard, which might start to send the jet stream a little bit further southwards. So that might be starting to turn a little bit more unsettled and possibly a bit cooler. Temperature anomaly looks like it's lowering slightly for the UK and for Ireland. Most parts of Europe are still pretty warm, but our anomaly is beginning to ease back a little bit. I would assume it's going to be slightly more unsettled. Again, no signal really, but you see that there are little green splotches, little green splotches appearing, which possibly indicate that it's beginning to get a little bit more unsettled as we get into the second half of July. So that's it. So yeah, it's like very up and down, this, isn't it? But generally a lot of dry and warm weather still to come through to the middle of July, I think. There's going to be like a cooler, more unsettled interlude that begins next week and carries over into the following week. So the second half of June will definitely be like cooler and more showery. It's not particularly unsettled. There's no signal here at any point really to be particularly wetter than average. So I suppose that's an important thing to get across. And although it is going to turn cooler and more unsettled, we're not talking about a deluge type thing setting up. It's just going to be like cooler and more showery in the second half of June compared to the first half of June, which has been particularly notably dry and warm. So that's what's happening into June, and then going to July. It looks like the high pressure comes back through the first half of July, probably turns it very warm and dry again. In fact, probably warmer than it is in the first half of June, given that, you know, it's a warming time of year. So first half of July can be expected to be warmer than the first half of June. Of course, it may get quite hot, you know, through the first half of June. Through her first half of July, I should say, and then possibly just an indication, a hint, no more than that, because it's so far out, just a hint that the second half of June maybe starts going cooler and more unsettled again. So I've got a pattern here. I've got a pattern here that the first halves of the months are coming out warmer and drier this summer, and the second half of the months are coming out cooler and very more showery. Possibly that is like going to be a pattern that's going to carry through the summer, but we'll see about that, of course. Right, that's it then. So if you enjoyed the video, please smash your like button. Make sure you sub to the channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Bear in mind, long-range forecasting is very unreliable, so any forecast beyond 5-7 days is fraught with danger and comes with health warnings, of course. So yeah, you know, it's just a snapshot of what model shows today, but it could look very different next week. That's it for this one then. We'll be back later on with the weekend forecast, and we'll have a 10 to 14 dayer for you as well. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We'll see you a little bit later on. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.